You don't want him to run for re-election.
I believe what's in the best interest of the country. And by the way, this is not how everybody thinks, but I do believe a majority wants to move on.
It is not looking good for Joe Biden at all. A recent poll was released showing that Joe Biden is currently receiving a record low approval rating of 38%. And if you combine that with the fact that Kamala Harris is currently polling at a net negative 17, which is the lowest that a vice president has ever polled since NBC began polling, then it now makes all the sense in the world why we are beginning to see more Democrats step out publicly and speak out against Joe Biden, strongly suggesting that he step aside and allow someone else to take the wheel as a Democratic nominee against Donald Trump. Now, recently, Democratic Congressman Representative Dean Phillips was on Meet the Press, and he was very vocal concerning the need for President Biden to step down in order to prevent Donald Trump from getting reelected. But what's even more interesting about this is that Dean Phillips suggested that one of the major handicaps to President Biden's reelection is his son, Hunter Biden, and the scandals that are surrounding him. Now, for more detail, let's dive into this article by NBC News titled, "Potential Biden Primary Challenger Suggests President's Image is Corrupted by Probe of Son Hunter." Representative Dean Phillips was considering challenging President Joe Biden for the Democratic presidential nomination on Sunday, suggested that the Hunter Biden investigation has compromised the president's image. Speaking about the Justice Department's probe of Biden's son, Phillips said in an exclusive interview on Meet the Press, "I don't think the president is corrupt. I think the investigation will show that. But this is the important part. It's the image. It's what the news will do," said Phillips, a member of the Democratic leadership team. "We know what era we live in partisanship. It's the attachment to the president. Most people aren't watching Meet the Press every weekend." Phillips reiterated his belief that Biden shouldn't run for re-election in 2024, but he also made clear that he respects the president. "It's about how people feel. People want to turn the page. I think that's fair to say," he said.
The fact is, I listen to normal Americans every day and my own feelings. And
is
the
this all
fact
about age?
This is no. This is about how people feel. By the way, it's not about what's real all the time. It's about how people feel. People want to turn the page. I think that's fair to say. As a Democrat, I adore Joe Biden. He saved this country. He can cement his legacy. My real call to action right now is not about me. The call to action is to ask the president to pass the torch.
Asked by NBC News' Chuck Todd, who would he like to see challenge Biden, Phillips replied, "I would like to see a moderate governor, hopefully from the heartland, from one of the 4 states that Democrats will need."
There is an extraordinary bench of people ready to go, proximate,
who would you like to
prepared,
see in this
positioned.
race?
I would like to see a moderate governor, hopefully from the heartland, from one of the 4 states that Democrats will need,
So let's see, Gretchen Whitmer. You'd like to see her, or is it Tim Walz, your home state governor, Tony Evers? Help me out here.
You just said a few names I think would be great. Josh Shapiro. There are a number of people. J.B. Pritzker. Some people have asked me that I not use their names because of this institutional fear that it might impact you down the road. This is the time to meet the moment.
Now, what I find most interesting is how no one ever brings up Kamala Harris's name to lead the Democratic Party. The only capacity in which her name is brought up is when discussions are being had around how to fix her image, given that she is without a shadow of a doubt the most disliked vice president in my lifetime. Now, going beyond her net negative 17 approval rating, even members of her own party, like Elizabeth Warren, can't stand her. How many of you all remember when Warren was asked about whether or not Biden should run for a second term? She immediately responded absolutely with great enthusiasm. But when she was asked about whether or not Biden should run it back with Kamala Harris, her enthusiasm left the room quickly.
Elizabeth Warren.
You know, speaking of you're having run for president, should Joe Biden run again for president? He'll be 86 by the time his second term is over.
Yes, he should run again.
Why?
And he is running again because he has gotten a tremendous amount done. It's been 2 years. He's had the skinniest possible majority in the United States Senate and only a very small majority in the House. And yet look at what we've done.
If he's that old in his second term, the vice presidency becomes even more important. Should Kamala Harris be his choice the second time around?
You know, I really want to defer to what makes Biden comfortable on his team.
Did you see how when Elizabeth Warren was asked about Kamala Harris, her response was, I don't know about all that. You got to check with Biden. Translation, no, he shouldn't run it back with Kamala Harris. And by the looks of it, the feeling is mutual with both the host of Meet the Press and Representative Dean Phillips, as you just listened to them bring up a host of names to replace Biden. Every name except Harris. I think it's more than safe to say that her political career is finished. Now let's get back into this article. Phillips has publicly stated his opposition to a second Biden term, joining a handful of other Democrats who have openly called for a contested primary with younger candidates, rather than handing the 2024 nomination to the 80-year-old Biden. I have respect for Joe Biden. Despite some mistakes and some missteps, despite his age, I think he's a man of decency, of good principle, of compassion, of empathy, and of strength, Phillips said last year in a radio interview on WCCO's The Chad Hartman Show. But to answer your question directly, which I know is quite rare, Chad, no, I don't, he said. I think the country will be well served by a new generation of compelling, well-prepared, dynamic Democrats to step up. Now, I want to take a moment to revisit something that may have went over a few people's heads, and that's the fact that this man, Dean Phillips, is a member of the Democratic leadership team. So this isn't just anyone speaking out against Joe Biden. Despite the fact that many of you may not know his name, he still holds a high-ranking position within the party. So for him to come out publicly on a mainstream media platform like Meet the Press is not something to take lightly. And also signals to me that him coming on Meet the Press was a move that was agreed upon by the party. I do not believe that Dean Phillips is acting on his own accord. With him being a member of the Democratic leadership team, I strongly believe that him, along with other members of the Democratic leadership team, agreed upon him coming on this mainstream media platform to apply further pressure on Biden to step down. And with stepping down, they would replace him with a more moderate Democrat from the, quote, heartland of America. Now, I actually just wanted to take a quick moment to define what a political moderate actually is. And according to the actual definition, a moderate is an ideological category which designates a rejection of radical or extreme views, especially in regard to politics and religion. A moderate is considered someone occupying any mainstream position, avoiding extreme views. So what does that mean? When it comes to what many consider the most extreme view on the political landscape today, reparations, you have to take into consideration that if that was a non-starter for the Biden administration, then when it comes to the next coming moderate Democrat, how much more so of a non-starter will it be for him or her? Understand, moving forward, as the Democrats move in a more moderate direction, you are still going to be sold on all of the disparities between Black and white Americans. The Jamal Bowmans, Ayanna Presleys, and Cori Bushes of the world aren't going to stop selling you on that, but they'll be selling you on it every election, knowing good and well the presidential candidate that they're backing and telling you to go vote for will do absolutely nothing for you because of the moderate position that he holds. This is just something to take into consideration for future elections. And with all that being said, that does it for today's video. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. All social media links will be pinned in the comment section below. I also have a Telegram group now, so if you have Telegram, make sure to hit the link in the description box below as well as pinned in the comment section to join my Telegram group. And also, please make sure you text tdhiphop to number 33222. That's tdhiphop to number 33222. That way you'll get a text notification whenever I release a new video, but it also serves as an insurance plan for myself, so in case YouTube ever gives me the axe, I'll be able to send you a direct link to where you can find me next. And last but certainly not least, for those of you who have a love and appreciation appreciation for the work that I put in on this channel, the number one way you can show your support is through Patreon. For only $3 a month, that will help put me in position to take TD Hip Hop Media off of YouTube. Remember, the goal is not to grow big on YouTube, but to grow independent of YouTube. And for those of you who have issues with joining Patreon, you can also hit the join button that's next to the subscribe button, and that way you can become an official channel member for as little as $3 a month as well. And lastly, if you haven't already, please make sure you join the emailing list. There is no way that I can go independent of YouTube if I cannot take the audience with me. And the link to that will be pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you for your time, and until the next video, peace.